What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we're doing Talking Oscars yet again. This is my incredibly early Best Supporting Actor picks, which I feel like I just kind of picked some random names and threw them at a wall to see if they would stick. Some of these I feel better about, and we'll talk about it as I go down the list. So, not to waste time, number one, probably the person I feel the most secure in the entire Oscar ceremony of any category, of any nomination. The thing that I feel the most certain about right now is that Samuel L. Jackson for The Piano Lesson is going to get a nomination. Everything that I've heard about this role, based on the film, based on the fact that it's been forever since Jackson has gotten a nomination, and he is owed. There will be that conversation of the fact that he is owed, that he is due, that it is his time. He will have all of that, and narratives play in such a huge part. They get him into those interviews where people talk about it. He will be all over the place. And since The Piano Lesson was briefly as a possibility last year, I can't see them possibly even pushing this to 2025. This is not like a VFX heavy film. You can't just keep moving this. Even if Denzel's son is not a good director, last year, everybody was projecting Color Purple, right? And then Color Purple was like, Danielle Brooks still got the nomination. Like the one person, everybody was like, Danielle Brooks, yo, she's really good on Broadway. We cannot stress this enough. She still got her nomination. So I feel like if The Piano Lesson even gets no nominations but Jackson, it will get Jackson's nomination. I'm not saying for the win, but I do feel like he is a lock for a nomination. Like Vegas money, but put the bet down right now. I would do it. Solid. This slot is locked. I consider this, I'm not moving him. I cannot see a world in which 5 other names who are not Samuel L. Jackson knock him from the list because of where he's at. The Piano Lesson would have to be he would have to be so bad. Not just The Piano Lesson, but he would have to be just like unpredictably atrocious in that project, which he's not. That's one of the reasons why Snakes on a Plane works, is because he's entertaining. So there's nothing I can think of. There's no scenario that I've come up with in which people somehow knock him out of the race. It just doesn't make any sense. So number 2 on my list is Kieran Culkin for Real Pain. I think Kieran is in a place where he's been around for a while. He'll have that narrative of being the first Culkin to get an Oscar nomination. God, he's been acting forever. And the buzz on this role is that he's really good. And the buzz on the role is basically he's going to have a ton of screen time because he's basically a co-lead. So if he drops to supporting, and they run Jesse in lead and kick Kieran to supporting, sort of a little bit like what we did with Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson. Arguably, Brendan Gleeson was a co-lead with Colin Farrell in Banshees of Inisherin. Then he'll get a nomination. I don't know that he'll win, but I feel like for Kieran Culkin, getting an Oscar nomination is the win. So, just getting in the room where it happens. So, definitely, it felt like that when he got his first Emmy nomination for Succession. It felt like he'd arrived, like as a serious actor. We had talked about him for years, coming out of films like Igby Goes Down, as being somebody, and it's like, no, he can actually act. This kid really good. And then finally, somebody actually recognized that. So the question is, will the Academy recognize it? I think they might. This is another nomination too, where I think even if the film doesn't really register, it's possible that he could. So, number 3 on my list is still Jeremy Strong for The Apprentice, for his Roy Cohn performance. He's another actor who I feel like, again, he's hot coming off of Succession. There will be a lot of buzz around him. I've heard the mixed reactions to The Apprentice. I've also heard it compared a lot to Vice, a lot to that kind of thing, which Vice did get acting nominations. So, most notably for Sam Rockwell in supporting actor. Um, Jeremy Strong as Roy Cohn just feels like the right choice for anybody who saw his boisterous performance in uh, I can't think of the name of the film now. Um, Armageddon Time. Uh, I mean, I felt like Jeremy Strong was going to rip doors off frames. I mean, like he was just so intense in that. So I'm interested to see what he does here. I feel like he has a better shot than Sebastian Stan because the character he's playing is not currently in the media. So the other performance will be divisive and people have a harder time checking that name off the box. But I think people have less of a hard time checking his name off the box. So I still think he has a pretty good chance. Number 4 is Clarence Macklin for Sing Sing. I've heard a lot about this. I need Clarence to just continue to be a thing because I don't want this to turn into he is not on the same level as the other 3 actors that I've just named in terms of his who he is as an actor. He's the kind of actor that could fall off. A lot of times we lose actors who are not quite on that level, who are too character actory, who are too breakthrough performery, whatever it is. They don't always end up getting the nomination. Sometimes it ends up going to somebody we've heard of a little bit more. Every once in a while, very true, these do work out. So I'm very aware of Clarence Macklin. Sing Sing is close to opening. I really want to see it open. I really want to see sort of the response to Clarence, like the wide response to Clarence, whether or not he stands out of an ensemble cast, because it really is Coleman's film. So, and the fact that there are 2 actors that I've heard mentioned for supporting actor, I do wonder if the other one can pull any votes in the end. So, this film has been seen by people who've seen it at festivals, so it's been seen by a certain group, and most of these people believe Clarence can get it. So we'll see. But he's very much on my radar. And basically after this, it just kind of drops off. I was like, who's number 5? I was like, I don't fucking know. So I just kind of put Brian Tyree for the Fire Inside. Because it's funny because last year he was pretty much, he was on a lot of lists when it was called Flint Strong, and now he's still here and he still might go supporting for this. The question, it's a weird date for a film to be like, yeah, this is going to happen for him. I don't know. But Brian has really tried to embrace the dramatic side and go all out, and I don't know. I think it could be interesting. Will he repeat? Can he get a second nomination? I feel like him and then like the next block of people are all sort of like number 5, but I just kind of put him a little bit ahead. Anyway, but so number 6 is John Lithgow for Conclave. It's been a while since Lithgow's heard his name here. If Conclave is the kind of film that gets multiple acting nominations, they could pull one of the supporting actors from Conclave, like either John Lithgow or my next choice, which is Stanley Tucci for Conclave, because I don't really know which one they would pick. Both of them have been nominated before. Who has the better role? Who has the meteor role? Will they cancel each other out? Last year, only one of the Poor Things people got nominated. However, the year before that, both Banshees boys got nominated. So, what kind of a year are we in here? We'll find out. But anyway, moving down the list. Is Paul Rossi for Sing Sing, the other actor that I mentioned that could be pulling votes from Clarence Macklin. He got a lot of attention with Sound of Metal. It's not impossible for him to get here. And again, this could be one of those things where maybe it's the kind of year they both get in. You know, maybe Sing Sing is the kind of movie that carries two supporting actors into the supporting actor race. I don't know yet. So most of these films haven't been seen. Number 9, I got Harris Dickinson for Blitz. I have a feeling they're going to run him in supporting, even if he is kind of a lead. I think they're just going to run Saoirse. I mean, I also had him, but I had him really low on my lead actor list. I had him there, like it registered because I had Blitz so high on my Best Picture race that I could not have Harris Dickinson, at least in my top 20, in case he ran lead actor. But I have a much higher on supporting. I feel like he's been introduced to Oscar audiences. The same stuff I said in the Best Actor race is true. He was in Triangle of Sadness, so they know who he is, and just whether or not, like, how further do the acting nominations beyond a possibility for Saoirse go? So can it extend to anybody else? Like possibly to his Blitz co-star Stephen Graham, who also might, who has the better part. We haven't seen Blitz, we don't know. So somebody could have a really killer monologue. It's the debate, right? It's the Fabelmans problem that we just had, where Paul Dano looked like the obvious choice and felt like the obvious choice because it was his time. He's never been nominated. And he's been so close to nominations before where it feels like we should have given him an Oscar nomination already before for like something like maybe There Will Be Blood. It's weird that he didn't get nominated for that. But he lost out to Judd Hirsch because Judd Hirsch had a great monologue. So it's like Harris Dickinson could have tons of screen time and Stephen Graham comes in and is like, gives like the monologue of his life and then leaves. And then it's like, well, Stephen Graham gets a nomination. So we'll see. But moving down the list, I have Denzel Washington for Gladiator. It's not lost on me the fact that this award season is going to put the Washingtons front and center. We've got the possibility of Malcolm Washington in director. Very remote for The Piano Lesson, but he's going to do press. We got John David Washington in lead actor for The Piano Lesson, and we've got Denzel in supporting for Gladiator 2. So this is one of those weird years where Barbenheimer helped because everybody was talking about it, everybody said it. So it helped those films, and it even helped continue to propagate the idea that Barbie was an awards contender because it was being said in the same phrase as Oppenheimer, which really felt awards baity. And then everybody's like, well, Barbenheimer, like, so I don't know what's going to happen with the Washington thing, but like all these Washingtons are are in contention this year. So Denzel doesn't need another nomination, but he's also Denzel, and he just gets nominated sometimes, as Roman J. Israel will point out to you. Sometimes when they don't have a fifth spot, they're just like, what did Denzel do this year? He's one of those actors that can just fill a spot. So next I've got Drew Starkey for Queer. I think if Queer really blows up as a film, and if he can come along with it, if Daniel Craig's performance in the film really blows up, he could be like a Tom Hardy / Ethan Hawke, somebody that we didn't really see coming along with the film, who ends up coming along with the film, ends up coming along with this strong lead performance. In both of those cases, by the way, that was Ethan Hawke following Denzel Washington for Training Day, and Tom Hardy followed Leonardo DiCaprio for The Revenant. Neither one of those were really projected at the time to get in. They were really front runners, but they ended up kind of sneaking their way in at the last minute due to really strong lead actor performances that went on to win Oscars. So if this really is Daniel Craig's year, he could actually power Drew Starkey to a supporting actor nomination as well. We've seen that happen. There's a case for it. So I've got Michael Shannon for The End. we're still waiting to kind of get reviews on the end, but it's Michael Shannon, so he should be in the conversation because he's Michael Shannon. So there we go. And I've got Jeremy Pope for the collaboration. He got close. He did get a Golden Globe nomination the last time he was in the Oscar conversation. So where will the collaboration take him? Unfortunately, his co-star is Paul Bettany, who has just been around longer and is going to absorb a lot more of that conversation of it's his time. He'll get that. He will be getting that type of talk. So next, I've got J.K. Simmons for juror number 2 because J.K. also, after his nomination that everyone hates for being the Ricardos, I didn't mind it. But after his nomination for being the Ricardos, he kind of strikes me as somebody who could also just suddenly be in a 5th place spot. So, like if juror number 2 overperforms, maybe J.K. Simmons ends up getting a nomination. So. At number 16, I put someone from Megalopolis. I think that's a really outside chance. We're at number 16 of a category that nominates 5 people. So I probably should have this lower, but because someone from Megalopolis is such a range of actors, all you need is one person with a great scene. You need one person to transcend the film. You need one person to be talked about. The thing is that Megalopolis is one of those films where everybody's going to talk about it and everybody's going to watch it. But if there's one actor who just has a really great scene that everybody talks about, it's hard because the people that can, there's such a small handful of people who've seen Megalopolis. It's like more people need to see it. But if there is a name and people are like, oh, well, that film is garbage, but oh my God, that one scene with so-and-so. I've heard a lot about that one scene with Jesse Plemons in Civil War. Now, I don't think Civil War is going to get nominated, but I don't think Jesse Plemons is the kind of actor who can get nominated for one scene. But there might be an actor in Megalopolis who could do that, who just slides in because everybody's like, wow, he's better than the film. So who knows? But moving down the list.
17 of 2017. Austin Butler, Dune Part 2.
I'm not going to say that name, so I don't know why I still have that name on the list. I'm going to say Paul Bettany for Here, because that's what should be there. Number 17 is not happening. Now that I've seen it, I didn't... It's funny, I just literally saw this film 2 days ago. It's not happening. So I'm going to move Paul Bettany to Here into number 17 live while I'm doing this. Should have checked the list ahead of time. I thought my list was good. Number 18. Jesse Eisenberg for Real Pain, just in case they flip them, in case they go with Kieran Culkin for lead and then Jesse in supporting. It's possible.
19 of 2019. George McKay.
19, I've got George McKay for the end. Who knows with the end? It's whatever.
20 of 2020. Bill misspelled Skarsgård, Nosferatu.
And 20, I did go ahead and just throw Bill Skarsgård on there for Nosferatu. I know a lot of people are avoiding that performance and avoiding that nomination. It feels like we have to talk about it, though. It feels like the kind of thing that you have to acknowledge it. And it feels like the kind of thing that could be so bonkers where you're just like, but could it? But could it? It feels like one of those things I really just want people to see it first before I completely cut it from my list. Before I completely knock it from my list. But I did just leave. He's 20, so he's final. Anyway, that's it. That's my list. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I have one more category, Best Supporting Actress. And then I'm going to leave this alone for a while and do Emmys. We're talking about the Emmys. So I'll be back next week with Supporting Actress. Until then, see you guys on the other side.